Welcome to the first episode of Dragonhead Gaming. We'll be showing you Homebrew Vehicle Sandbox today and some of the cool things you can do with it. We'll be going over the basic vehicles you start with and how to build your first basic car. So let's head right over here. This is the main dome building where you buy your parts. And you can head inside here. Now you don't need to build your vehicles in here, but this is where you do have to buy your parts. And they cost you white orbs, red orbs, green orbs, or a combination thereof. Alright, so we're going to head right outside here real quick. Alrighty. Now we're going to take a look at some of the basic vehicles you start with. Alright, we have here the default drag racer. That one's very fast, goes great in a straight line, but you do not want to hit a bump or a turn. And of course does much better on road with these slick tires. Alright, we also have the default helicopter. Well, let's get that up there. Alrighty. Tail rotors, seats. It's got two large fuel tanks. Now the one thing about this, they are very hard to control because you do have your pitch, your yaw, your roll, as well as your throttle up and down. I'm just going to show you here real quick. Just set your throttle and you have a nice hover mode. Alrighty, well, go ahead and hop out of there. And you tend to sometimes end up right on top of your vehicle. Luckily you don't take damage or anything in the game. Alright, you have your basic plane. You push it here over here towards the cliff. And with just a cliff like this, you can get it up to speed and take off right there and you're in the air flying. It's good if you get the practice down. You can pick up those orbs, just do a quick circuit, pick up the orbs. Then up there are the red ones. You can fly sideways through those, pick up a few that way. Then we have your rocket racer. This doesn't use an engine, just uses a rocket as your momentum. One about they have great acceleration. I made one. I go from 0 to about 800 in under 3 seconds. Problem is you hit a bump or anything, you are airborne in that thing and they are very hard to stop. But great for getting yourself a nice launch. This one here is the wannabe bug, a nice little Baja bug. Somebody put a lot of work into this, a lot of parts. A lot of small fuel tanks. I prefer to use the big ones, but you do have to purchase those after going out and getting a few orbs. Then you also start with the first tutorial. You build one of these. It's a Dan van. And then we're going to go ahead and head over here. And as you can see, I did it right here. We're going to go ahead and edit that one. Just so we can show you what it looks like when it's all done. That's what it's going to look like. Really basic. It goes about 120 kilometers per hour. And get a pretty good range. It's got 2 fuel tanks, 2 engines, and a nice wide wheelbase, so you won't turn over very much. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to go in. Now you have over here, this is your performance mods. This tells you where your center of gravity is. As you can see, this G, this is your center of gravity. As you can see, it's pretty much kind of low. This is where you start off. And you want to kind of keep it centered, otherwise your vehicle tends to be either forward heavy or back heavy. And you can adjust that depending on what you put on the vehicle. Over here, this is your parts. This is how you actually build it. And as you see, all these little blue circles are welds. You can select your parts up here. You have your pipes. You can pre-build frames. And these are all your different parts that you have. And you start with a few, and then you have to build more. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're just going to wipe this. Just totally take it right out. And we're going to start building straight from the basic. Now, I have here a wheel strut. I'm going to show you how to build the pipe in that real quick. So in here, so you can build any two-dimensional pipe you can think of. So we're going to build a wheel strut that's going to go off the wheel. So we're going to connect it right there. Now, with this arrow, you can change direction however you want it to go. When you're ready to actually build the pipe, we just double click. Now we're going to want to extend it out to give us a little bit of width so we're not so wide. And then you're going to click, and that's going to close off that section. Now, from here, we're going to want to angle it out so we can get a little more width and length to the vehicle. So just go straight diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That should be good. Click. Look at a perfect curve. And then go over here and you just double click to finish off the pipe, and you have yourself one solid pipe. Now over here, this will weld the pipe together and save it. Now we're going to go down. I already saved it as wheel strut. Now you can put an underscore if you want a space in there, if you have a long name. But we're going to go ahead and head back over here. Now I like to have a low center of gravity in my vehicles. So I'm going to go ahead and take a line 6. I'm going to drop that. We're going to just drop the center of the vehicle straight down. So we don't want a vehicle so high up. Then from here, we want to extend the vehicle both front and back. And this will give the vehicle a little more length so it's not a big square. And from here, we're going to go ahead and grab those wheel struts that we made. Now you want to attach where the long end is heading out so we have a nice wide vehicle. Now, to go ahead and get this facing the right way, see this round circle here? We're just going to click that. And voila. Let's go ahead and attach the other side. That one's facing right. Let's go ahead and drop a couple more of those for the front. And the reason I call it the front is you see an arrow here. And that'll tell you which way the vehicle's facing, just to give you a point of reference. I've built them either way. It's just mainly a point of reference. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and switch that. So there you have your basic outline frame for the vehicle. Now we're going to weld this all together, and we're going to come back into the performance tuning. And from here, take a look at that. Perfectly centered. We dropped that center of gravity, but it's still even to the front and the back. Alright, now we're going to mount the engines. I like to mount the engines just to keep it even front and back. Now let's go over, whoops, parts. Now you will only start with one V6 engine, but you can just run around with the basic vehicles they give you and get yourself enough to get a couple more. So we got our two engines. Now we need to put mounts because, well, we don't want them laying on the ground dragging. So let's go ahead and do the pipes here. And I use curve 3s because if you attach them on either side right here like this, leaving a spacer in between, and face that outwards, just like that. Now what that does is got a mount for the engine. We can put it anywhere along these lines. As you can see, the bottom of the engine has 3 connection points. Now we want the engine, and you can click on it and hold it and move it around anywhere you want. Now we do want the exhaust facing backwards just for aesthetic reasons. It really doesn't seem to matter on performance or anything. But we want to keep that center of gravity towards the front. So we're going to go ahead and take the furthest away from it. We're going to attach it right there. As you can see, it put it on with the exhaust facing backwards and off one side. Just switch, whoops, let's just switch that around. Go over here and voila. And as you can see, perfectly mounted on both sides. You really only need to mount one, but aesthetically, I think it looks nice. Now we're going to take the furthest one on this side. Oh, whoops. Let's get our curves. Forgot to do that. And voila. And bring this one over here. Alrighty. We want to take that furthest one. Put it right here. And once again, puts it backwards. It's okay. Everything rotates on that point. Alright. Now we have both engines facing backwards. Let's go ahead and bake those. Alright, as you can see, it put our center of gravity a little forward, but that's okay, because when we accelerate, we're going to get that lift back. And that's just going to compensate for that. Alright, now with here, let's go ahead and put on the wheels. Oops, parts. Whoops. Alright, let's go to parts. We're going to put on the wheel hubs. Let's put one here. One here. Let's go to the other side. And put One here, one here. All right. I like to do this just because they end up facing the wrong way, and you can just grab the other side, pop it there, come over here, grab this one, attach it there, and twist it right. Grab this one. Okay, so if you put it on the wrong end or anything like this, it's easy to fix that. You just highlight that white dot, and instead of hitting the selector, you hit the middle mouse button, and voila, it falls off. There you go. We're going to put that on there, and attach that right there, and we're going to go ahead and put the wheel facing down. All right, we now have our 4 wheels. We're going to bake that. So all we have left to do is put on a seat. Whoops. So let's go ahead and drop the seat. And since we have that kind of forward center of gravity, let's go ahead and just put this right in the middle. Now, it will go into the engine a little bit. Doesn't affect performance or anything. If you don't like it aesthetically, you can raise a bar and raise it up a little bit. I like to keep the center of gravity low, so. All right, and then we just need to add one last piece, and we're going to add a couple of fuel tanks. Normally, I'd put a large fuel tank on this, but you do only start off with small fuel tanks. But you can buy the large ones real easy. All right, now we don't want them facing down like that. Now we can click here, pops that one up. And then if we have shift click, because this is going to go the opposite way, there we go. Holding shift while clicking just turns it the opposite way. You can go back and forth. All right, we have our fuel, seat, engine. All right, we look good. Let's bake it and look where our center of gravity is. And we are slightly forward to compensate for the acceleration. And we are pretty much dead center left and right, and a little high, but that's to be expected with the seat where it is. Now you can drop these a little lower, maybe drop the bar less. It's all how you want to set it up. So we're going to go ahead and start tuning this. First thing I like to do is I want all my wheels to be the same. Now if you shift click on each one of these, holding shift selects multiple, and we're going to go ahead and pick this. And I like to do the big dirt unless the vehicle needs to be raised up more, but this should be plenty big enough. And pretty much everything is dirt. There's very little roads, so you kind of slide around for the slick tires. Then we have these two here. As you can see, they face opposite way. If you were to just attach everything as it is, you'd end up just spinning in circles. We don't want to do that. Now you want to click left wheel, because it is on the left side on each one. Now everything is facing forward, so that is the motion of the vehicle. You can change this if you have a seat going the other way, to face the other way. Or if you want it to go in circles, you can. And if you put these on the inside, just for aesthetically or whatever, then your right wheels become your left wheels. All right, and you can change these. You have angle. You can change how you steer. You have the offset angle, which is where they start. If you want them to start at kind of an angle, so you're turning in circles, how much brake you want to apply here. And we're not going to link the input controller right now. We're going to just do that all at the end. If you have multiple seats for some reason, like if you have weapon systems and you have multiple players, you can link them that way. Then you have your input, which is the horizon, and we want that going left, right. So the first thing for steering is we want to put this one for can steer. So you want to steer with your front wheels. I've tried steering with the back wheels. It's really hard to control, and you tend to flip a lot more. And we're going to leave everything else alone, because pretty much the defaults are great for what they're set for. Okay, now to fuel our engines, if you just click on this, it's going to click one. If you double click, it will click all of them. You can select one fuel per engine if you want. I just tend to put everything for ease, and this way one engine doesn't run out before the other. Now if you click each one of these by holding shift, you can select multiple. Now you just click off the screen and they will be linked. So if you click that one, it's linked, and they're linked to both. Now I only bother to show fuel on one, because since they're linked, they'll use the same amount of fuel. Now, to select all the engines, go ahead and double click again. Now you have your global gear ratio. Now, the lower your gear setting, the faster your top speed, but it is harder to get up hills. Higher gear setting, you have great power getting up hills, just lower your top speed. Now, first thing we want to do is we want to link all the wheels to the engine. Now go ahead and do just like you did for the fuel. You want to hold shift and click all 4 of these and click off the side, and they are all linked. Now you can set up a manual drive, manual clutch. I prefer to leave it automatic just for fun of tooling around. Like I said, we're not doing the controller right now. I'll show you how to do that all at the end. Your activation input, this is how you turn on your engines. I leave it activate 1 just to everything turns on and you're ready to go. Your throttle input is your axis vertical currently. That is essentially your W and your S keys. So you go forward, backward, S is your brake. You can adjust what you want your clutch input to be for pushing it in, your gear up, gear down. Now, I don't bother to link these to the chair because I use automatic all the time. All right, let's go ahead and continue. So now we have our fuel set up. We have our wheels set up. See, and everything's set up to steer. So now let's go ahead and link everything to that chair. The way we do that is we click this one right here. Now we'll auto-link everything to that one chair. And as you can see, the wheels now linked. Fuel is linked to those. The engine is linked to the chair. That one's linked to the chair. All right, now that one's. Make sure your steering is for horizontal. Then we got to click this little gray circle right here. And that's going to give you control of the seat. Now your field of view, that lets you change how wide of an angle you can see. Look around. I prefer to keep this clicked. If you leave it unchecked, you'll be facing forward the whole time. You can't look around. If you leave it look around clicked, you can look around as you're driving just like you could in normal real life. Linking a crosshair is great if you have guns set up. Show speed, I link that just so I have an idea how fast I'm going. Altitude's great if you're in a blimp or a plane. Alright, then we're going to edit the screen. Over here you have your fuel. Now if your vehicle has batteries, you can set this up at any kind of configuration that you want. Like if you wanted your fuel up at the top, you just go over here, click left top, left bottom, right top, wherever you want it to be. And you can adjust the size. I like to get my speed a little bigger and wider just so it's more pronounced. Bake to make sure that it saves. Alrighty, and then if you want to make sure your vehicle works, we just come over here, get a nice view on the vehicle. Let's lock our camera. That's this one right there. Alright, and we're going to hit Control Seat. Now, if you hit your activation button, which is the Activate 1, whatever you have it configured, if everything's set up right, your engine should turn on. You have black smoke coming out. Now if you hit your left right, you see the wheels moving up there so we can steer. Now if you go right over here, this one is the on-off physics. Now if you hit that button, you see it raised up because the wheels are actually on the ground. And this actually lets you test your vehicle, drive it around, with steering around. You can decide you can fire your guns. So it looks like we are a working vehicle. Let's go ahead and bake it. Oh, whoops. Got to exit physics mode. Alright, you can move the camera on anywhere you want. Alright, let's do that. And if you go right over here, if you click on this, normally it'll be white when you make a new one. And you will take a snapshot of your picture. Let's go ahead and bake. This will save all of our settings. We're going to go ahead and head outside. Alright, we're going to go over here, make sure this is selected, episode 1 vehicle, and voila! Look at that. Your first vehicle, you can pretty much make this within the first 5 minutes of the game. We're going to start her up. Let's head over here. Now the nice thing about this is you can collect white orbs really quick with this thing. And once you have enough white orbs, you can build some more engines, add more to just this base model. Oh! And if you do try to take a corner too fast, you will flip the vehicle. Pretty much anything is like that. And you can put wider vehicle bases for your higher speeds and adjust the wheel angle so you're not turning as sharp. Alrighty. Well, and here's your looking around at the mouse. I hope you enjoyed the video and that this gives you a little hint on how to build. Keep an eye out on this channel. I'm going to be building a whole bunch of more stuff and showing you some of my builds. Have a good one.